First contact. The vast blackness of space surrounded the sleek reconnaissance vessel of the Galactic Hegemony. Its silver hull reflected distant starlight as it silently approached the third planet of a rather unremarkable yellow star. To most spacefaring civilizations, this system would barely warrant a footnote in stellar catalogs. Yet today, Commander Vex Loren stood with 6 eyes fixed on the viewscreen, mandibles clicking in a rhythm that indicated deep concentration. "Fascinating," he murmured, his exoskeleton shifting slightly as he leaned closer to the holographic display. "This species has barely reached their own moon, yet our scans detect unusual energy signatures." Science Officer Zaxvor moved to his commander's side, her slender form casting a shadow across the data readouts. Unlike Vex Loren's heavily armored appearance, Zaxvor's species had evolved for intellectual pursuits rather than combat, with an enlarged cranium housing a brain capable of processing vast amounts of information simultaneously. "The humans call their planet Earth," she noted, 4-fingered hands manipulating the controls to enhance the scan results. "According to our surveillance, they've only achieved rudimentary space travel. They haven't even established permanent settlements beyond their atmosphere." Vex Loren's upper eyes narrowed. "Then explain these energy readings. They're inconsistent with their apparent technological development." The ship's AI projected a 3-dimensional model of Earth, highlighting several locations with pulsing red markers. The most significant concentration appeared in a region the humans called Nevada in the North American continent. "We need closer observation," Vex Loren decided. "Zaxvor, you will take disguise form and infiltrate. Your mission is to assess whether these primitives represent any potential threat to hegemony interests." Zaxvor bowed slightly, her pale blue skin flushing darker at the assignment. "I will depart immediately, Commander." 3 days later, Dr. Eliza Chen swiped her security badge at the entrance to Level 7 of the Advanced Defense Research Facility. The underground complex, hidden beneath the Nevada desert, housed Earth's most classified weapons technology research. Few outside a select group of scientists and military personnel even knew of its existence. "Morning, Dr. Chen." The security guard nodded as reinforced doors slid open. Eliza returned the greeting with a tired smile. At 34, she had already revolutionized energy weapon systems twice, created a theoretical framework for shield technology that defied conventional physics, and was currently leading the quantum resonance project. Dark circles under her eyes testified to another late night reviewing test results. "The new researcher starts today, right?" the guard asked. "Yes, Dr. Zoe Vernon," Eliza confirmed, recalling the impressive credentials of the transfer from MIT. "She'll be joining the resonance team." When Eliza reached the main laboratory, she found a slender woman with chin-length black hair already there, examining the prototype quantum resonator with intense focus. "Dr. Vernon, I presume." Eliza extended her hand. The woman turned, dark eyes meeting Eliza's. "Yes, but please call me Zoe. I've been admiring your work. The resonance field modulation is unlike anything I've seen before." What Eliza couldn't know was that Zoe Vernon was actually Zaxvor, her physical appearance and genetic structure temporarily modified to pass as human. The hegemony's infiltration technology was centuries beyond Earth's detection capabilities. Over the following weeks, Zaxvor methodically cataloged the humans' technological achievements, sending encrypted data packets to the hegemony vessel waiting beyond Luna. What she discovered increasingly disturbed her. Humans were developing technologies that, by all reasonable metrics, should be impossible for their civilization stage. The quantum resonator could theoretically disable any known hegemony weapon system. The adaptive shielding Dr. Chen was perfecting could withstand energy barrages that would cripple most hegemony vessels. Most concerning of all was the speed of human innovation. What took other species centuries to develop, humans accomplished in decades or even years. They failed constantly but learned from each failure with remarkable efficiency. During a breakthrough test of the adaptive shield prototype, Zaxvor watched as the energy field withstood a concentrated particle beam that should have shattered it instantly. Instead, the shield actually grew stronger, adapting to and absorbing the attack. "It worked," Eliza exclaimed, eyes bright with triumph. The other scientists erupted in cheers and applause. Zaxvor maintained her human smile while sending an urgent message to Commander Vexloren. Humans possess shield technology surpassing hegemony military standards. Development rate exceeds all known species. Recommend immediate containment protocols. That evening, as Zaxvor accessed restricted files in the empty laboratory, she discovered something that sent a chill through her disguised form. The humans weren't just developing defensive technology. They had conceptualized weapons that could theoretically penetrate any known defensive system in the galaxy. Weapons that could rewrite the balance of power that had kept the hegemony dominant for millennia. Most alarmingly, they had developed these innovations without ever encountering alien technology. It was all original research, built on theoretical frameworks created by human scientists working with only Earth's resources. As she transmitted this data to the hegemony vessel, Zaxvor felt an unfamiliar sensation. Doubt. The hegemony protocols for species with dangerous technological potential were ruthlessly efficient. Containment, followed by forced technological regression and monitoring. But something about these humans gave her pause. Their creativity seemed boundless, their drive to explore and understand the universe matching her own species' dedication to knowledge. Meanwhile, aboard the hegemony reconnaissance vessel, Commander Vexloren reviewed Zaxvor's latest report with growing alarm. He immediately sent an encrypted transmission to Hegemony Central Command, requesting immediate intervention. The response came swiftly. Containment fleet dispatched. Arrival within 14 planetary rotations. Maintain surveillance. Prevent technological advancement if possible. Vexloren's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of satisfaction. Soon, the human problem would be resolved. Their unusual weapons development would be halted, and the natural order of galactic civilization would be preserved. Little did he know that the humans had already detected his transmission. Deep within a mountain in Colorado, at the North American Aerospace Defense Command, an unusual signal had been flagged and analyzed. The message was encrypted in a way that defied conventional decryption, but its origin, from Earth orbit to deep space, was unmistakable. General Marcus Williams studied the report with a grim expression. "So we're not alone, and whoever's watching us doesn't seem friendly." He turned to his communications officer. "Implement Protocol Omega. I want every defense installation on high alert. And get me a secure line to the President and the UN Security Council." Within hours, the world's major powers were quietly mobilizing. Weapons platforms that had been theoretical were rapidly brought online. Defense systems that had been in development for decades were suddenly prioritized for immediate deployment. And in Nevada, Dr. Eliza Chen received a call that would change human history forever. "Dr. Chen, this is General Williams. We have reason to believe we'll be having visitors soon. How quickly can you get the Aegis system operational?" Eliza glanced at the prototype shield generator and the quantum resonator. "With unlimited resources, maybe 2 weeks." "You have one," the general replied. "And Dr. Chen, we have reason to believe there may be non-human entities already among us. Trust no one outside your core team." As she hung up, Eliza's gaze fell on Dr. Zovernon, who was working late again, examining test results with unusual intensity. For the first time, Eliza felt a flicker of suspicion. There had always been something odd about Dr. Vernon's perspectives, the way she sometimes reacted with surprise to technologies that should have been familiar to someone with her background. Across the solar system, a fleet of 17 hegemony warships emerged from hyperspace. Admiral Krithar, Supreme Commander of the Containment Fleet, surveyed the blue-green planet on his view screen with cold calculation. "Prepare for standard containment procedure," he ordered. "This primitive world won't know what hit them." His executive officer, a veteran of 12 containment operations, nodded in agreement. The humans won't stand a chance. Admiral, their defenses are minimal, and they have no awareness of our capabilities. Crethar's mandibles clicked in amusement. Indeed, by tomorrow, they'll be back to throwing spears at each other, wondering what strange gods descended from the heavens to humble them. The Hegemony fleet began its approach to Earth, weapon systems powering up, completely confident in their technological superiority over the primitive humans. The containment of Earth was about to begin. The invasion begins. Admiral Crethar stood on the command deck of the Hegemony flagship Inevitable Dominance, his armored exoskeleton gleaming under the blue light of tactical displays. The massive vessel, 5 kilometers long and bristling with weapon emplacements, led the containment fleet toward the unsuspecting Earth. 16 other warships followed in perfect formation, their hulls reflecting distant starlight. Standard containment procedure, Crethar announced to his command staff. First wave, atmospheric fighters to neutralize military installations and communication networks. Second wave, tactical strikes on power infrastructure. Third wave, ground forces to secure surrender and begin technological regression protocols. The Admiral's second-in-command, Sub-Commander Vectoral, reviewed the intelligence from Zaxvor's reports one final time. The humans have some unusual defense capabilities. Admiral, perhaps we should approach with caution. Crethar's upper eyes narrowed in annoyance. They've barely achieved spaceflight, Vectoral. Their most advanced weapons are chemical explosives and primitive nuclear devices. Our shields can withstand thousands of such attacks without strain. Yes, Admiral, Vectoral conceded, though doubt lingered in his mind. Something about Zaxvor's final reports troubled him, an underlying tone of concern that seemed uncharacteristic of the usually clinical science officer. Launch first wave, Crethar commanded. Let's show these primitives the price of developing beyond their appropriate technological level. 300 fighter craft deployed from the Hegemony fleet, streaking toward Earth's atmosphere in a terrifying display of coordinated military precision. Each fighter carried enough firepower to level a small city, their energy weapons charged and targeting systems locked on Earth's major military installations. Meanwhile, on Earth, the detection systems that had been quietly monitoring deep space for decades had already alerted global defense networks to the approaching threat. In underground command centers and hidden military facilities across the planet, humanity prepared for its first interstellar conflict. In the Pentagon's newly established Extraterrestrial Defense Command Center, General Williams watched as red dots representing alien fighters approached on the global tactical display. "Are the Aegis platforms ready?" he asked his operations officer. "Yes, sir." Dr. Chen delivered the prototypes ahead of schedule. They'd been deployed to all critical defense installations. Williams nodded grimly. "And the resonance disruptors? Online and calibrated, sir. If Dr. Chen's calculations are correct, they should disable their energy weapons systems on contact." "Let's hope she's right," Williams muttered, watching as the alien fighters entered Earth's upper atmosphere. "Activate all defense systems. Let these visitors understand that humanity won't go quietly." Across the globe, hidden defense platforms powered up. Technology that had been developed in secret for decades, some reverse-engineered from crashed alien craft, others purely human innovations, prepared to defend Earth against its first confirmed extraterrestrial threat. In the Nevada facility, Dr. Eliza Chen monitored the deployment of her technologies with intense focus. The Aegis shield system and quantum resonance disruptors represented her life's work, and now everything depended on whether they functioned as designed. "Energy signature analysis complete," one of her team reported. "Their weapons operate on principles similar to our theoretical models. The disruptors should work." Beside her, Dr. Zoe Vernon watched the proceedings with growing internal conflict. Zaxvor had sent her final report to the Hegemony fleet hours ago, but she had deliberately omitted critical information about the full extent of human defensive capabilities. For the first time in her career as an infiltrator, she found herself hoping that her mission would fail, that these ingenious humans would somehow survive the hegemony's containment protocol. The hegemony fighters entered Earth's atmosphere, their sensors detecting primitive radar signals attempting to track them. The fighter pilots communicated with clicks of amusement, confident that human targeting systems could never lock onto their advanced craft. "Begin primary target strikes," ordered the fighter commander. "Neutralize their military command centers first." The fighters accelerated toward their targets, weapons powering up to devastating levels. But as they approached the first targets, military bases in North America, something unexpected happened. The energy weapons that could vaporize mountains suddenly flickered and died, their power levels dropping to zero. "Command, this is Strike Leader," the lead pilot transmitted urgently. "Weapon systems failing across all squadrons. The humans have some kind of energy disruption field." In orbit, Admiral Crethar received this news with disbelief. Impossible. Their technology couldn't possibly. He turned to his tactical officer. Analysis. Unknown energy field emanating from multiple locations on the planet's surface, the officer reported, mandibles clicking in agitation. "It appears to be specifically calibrated to disrupt our weapon frequencies." Crethar's rage manifested as a deep crimson flush across his exoskeleton. "Launch second wave with modified weapon frequencies. They cannot possibly have countermeasures for all our technology." 700 more fighters launched from the hegemony fleet, these equipped with weapons calibrated to different energy spectrums. Surely, the humans couldn't have defenses against technologies they had never encountered. On Earth, Eliza watched as the first wave of alien fighters retreated in disarray, their weapons neutralized by her resonance disruptors. But the tactical displays already showed a second, larger wave approaching. "They're adapting," she observed, "modifying their weapon frequencies. Recalibrate the disruptors. Pattern Alpha through Epsilon." Her team worked frantically, adjusting the global defense network to counter the new threat. This was the moment of truth, had they correctly anticipated the aliens' technological capabilities. As the second wave of fighters entered the atmosphere, they encountered not just energy disruption fields, but now a new defense, shimmering domes of translucent energy covering key installations. The Aegis shield system had activated. The first fighter to fire upon a shielded target was in for a shocking surprise. Its energy weapon struck the shield, and instead of depleting it, the shield absorbed the energy, growing stronger. The more the fighters attacked, the more powerful the shields became. "It's working," one of Eliza's team shouted as data streamed in. "The adaptive energy conversion is functioning at 118% efficiency." Zaxvor stared at the displays in amazement. The shield technology was actually more advanced than what she had reported to the hegemony. It didn't just block attacks, it converted enemy weapon energy to strengthen itself, a technology that even the hegemony's best scientists had only theorized about. In orbit, Crethar received increasingly desperate reports from his fighter squadrons. Not only were their weapons being neutralized, but the humans had shield technology that defied the laws of physics as the hegemony understood them. "This is impossible," he snarled. "These are primitives. They can't have developed such technology independently." Vectoral studied the incoming data with growing concern. "Admiral, I recommend we halt the attack and reassess. These humans have capabilities far beyond what our intelligence suggested." "No." Crethar slammed his armored fist onto the command console. "I will not be defeated by primitives. Prepare the warships for direct orbital bombardment. We'll bypass their tactical defenses with overwhelming force." As the massive hegemony warships began to move into bombardment position, Earth unveiled yet another surprise. From concealed silos and underwater platforms, hundreds of missiles launched toward the alien fleet. But these weren't conventional nuclear weapons. They were something new. "Quantum phase missiles detecting," reported Crethar's tactical officer, his voice rising with alarm. They're shifting phase to bypass our shields." "Impossible," Crethar roared. "Evasive maneuvers." But it was too late. The missiles, incorporating technology derived from the quantum resonator, shifted partially out of normal spacetime as they approached the hegemony shields. Instead of impacting against the energy barriers, they passed through them as if they weren't there, then rephased to normal space inside the shield perimeter. The explosions weren't designed to destroy the massive warships, merely to disable key systems. Throughout the hegemony fleet, propulsion systems failed, weapon targeting computers crashed, and communications arrays went offline. 3 of the smaller warships, struck in particularly vulnerable areas, began to drift, their main power cores shut down by the precision strikes. The rest of the fleet, while still operational, found themselves suddenly without many of their advanced capabilities. In the Nevada facility, alarms suddenly blared. Security teams rushed through the corridors, heading toward the quantum research lab. Eliza looked up from her console in confusion. "What's happening?" she demanded as armed guards burst into the command center. "Security breach in Section 7, the team leader reported. Dr. Vernon has accessed restricted weapons systems and is attempting to transmit data off-site." Eliza felt a cold shock run through her. General Williams' warning echoed in her mind. Non-human entities already among us. She had worked alongside Zoe, or whatever she really was, for weeks, sharing discoveries, celebrating breakthroughs. "Find her," Eliza ordered, pushing aside her personal feelings. Earth's survival was at stake. But Zaxvor had not been transmitting weapons data to the hegemony as the security team believed. Instead, she had made a decision that would change her life forever. She was sending the hegemony fleet's complete tactical specifications to Earth's defense network. Shield frequencies, weapon calibrations, propulsion vulnerabilities, everything a defender would need to completely neutralize the threat. As security forces cornered her in a communications lab, Zaxvor raised her hands in surrender. Her disguise technology, strained by the intense activity, began to flicker. The human security team watched in shock as Dr. Zoe Vernon transformed before their eyes, revealing Zaxvor's true form. Blue-skinned, with an enlarged cranium and 4-fingered hands. "I mean no harm," she said as her translator struggled to maintain English pronunciation with her changing vocal structures. "I have given you what you need to defend yourselves." In orbit, Admiral Krithar faced the unthinkable. A primitive species that had not only resisted the hegemony's containment protocol, but had effectively neutralized much of his fleet's capabilities. And now, to his horror, tactical data showed that Earth's defense systems were recalibrating to precisely target the weaknesses of hegemony technology. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "How could they know our specifications?" The answer came moments later when a transmission broke through on all hegemony communication channels, a transmission using hegemony encryption codes. "This is Science Officer Zaxvor to Hegemony Fleet. I have provided Earth with your tactical data. They now have the means to destroy your entire fleet if they choose. I advise immediate withdrawal and diplomatic contact." Krithar's rage was boundless, but even he could not deny the reality of their situation. The containment fleet, pride of the hegemony military, hung vulnerable above a planet that had proven far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. "Prepare for emergency hyperspace jump," he finally ordered, each word painful to pronounce. "Tactical withdrawal to regroup and reassess." As the damaged hegemony fleet limped away from Earth, humanity celebrated its first victory against an interstellar threat. But the war was far from over. The hegemony would return, and Earth would need to prepare for a conflict on a scale humans had never imagined. In a secure holding facility, Zaxvor sat facing Eliza Chen across a simple table. Between them lay a future neither had anticipated, a potential alliance that could reshape the galaxy. "Why did you help us?" Eliza asked the question that had been burning in her mind since Zaxvor's true identity was revealed. The alien scientist's large eyes studied Eliza for a moment before answering. "Because in all my years exploring the galaxy, I've never encountered a species with your particular gift. The ability to create what should be impossible through sheer determination and creativity. The hegemony fears you because they cannot understand you. I helped you because I believe you deserve the chance to show the galaxy what humanity truly is. Outside, the preparations for Earth's defense continued. The first battle had been won, but the real war was just beginning. Humanity triumphant. The mood in the Hegemony High Command chamber was somber. Admiral Krithar stood before the Council of Nine, the ruling body of the vast interstellar empire, his posture rigid despite the shame of his recent defeat. Holographic displays showed the battle data from Earth, the unexpected defensive capabilities, the neutralization of hegemony weapons, and most disturbing of all, the betrayal of science officer Zaxvor. This human problem requires immediate and overwhelming response, Krithar insisted, his mandibles clicking rapidly in agitation. I request command of the Grand Armada to return and properly contain this threat. High Chancellor Vexmoran, eldest of the Council, leaned forward, his ancient exoskeleton bearing the marks of countless campaigns across the stars. You underestimated them once, Admiral. The cost was 3 warships and hundreds of fighters. What assurance can you provide that a second attempt would succeed? The element of surprise is lost, Krithar acknowledged, but our technological advantage remains overwhelming. With the full might of the Grand Armada, we can bypass their defenses through sheer force. After hours of deliberation, the Council reached its decision. The human threat could not be allowed to spread. Earth would be contained, no matter the cost. Krithar departed with authorization to command not just the remnants of his containment fleet, but the Grand Armada itself. 500 warships, the largest military force assembled in hegemony history. On Earth, 6 months of frantic preparation had transformed the planet. Zaxvor, now working openly with Dr. Eliza Chen and the Global Defense Initiative, had provided invaluable insights into hegemony technology and tactics. With this knowledge, humanity had accelerated weapons development at an unprecedented rate. In a converted aircraft hangar in Nevada, Eliza and Zaxvor stood before what they hoped would be the key to Earth's survival. The Nexus Array, a global network of quantum field generators designed to create a planetary shield unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The integration of your quantum physics with our phase technology creates possibilities neither of our species imagined, Zaxvor observed, her blue fingers manipulating the holographic model of the Nexus Array. But will it be enough against the Grand Armada? Eliza's expression remained determined despite the exhaustion evident in her eyes. It has to be. The simulations show the shield can adapt to any known weapon frequency. If we can hold them off long enough, the countermeasure platforms will do the rest. What Eliza didn't say was that humanity had prepared more than just defensive measures. In hidden facilities around the globe, Earth's first true warships were being completed, vessels incorporating both human innovation and the technological insights provided by Zaxvor. They were few in number compared to the hegemony fleet, but they carried weapons systems that existed nowhere else in the galaxy. General Williams entered the hangar, his uniform crisp despite the late hour. We've detected hyperspace signatures at the edge of the solar system. A lot of them. Intelligence suggests it's the Grand Armada. At least 500 ships. Eliza and Zaxvor exchanged glances. The moment they had been preparing for had arrived sooner than expected. How long do we have? Eliza asked. Less than 24 hours before they achieve optimal attack position, Williams replied. The President is addressing the United Nations now. All defense systems are at maximum readiness. Across the globe, civilians who had been briefed on the alien threat months earlier now moved to underground shelters. Military personnel took their positions at defense installations. In orbit, the International Space Defense Station, hastily assembled from components of the various national space programs, prepared to coordinate Earth's space-based defenses. Admiral Krithar surveyed the blue-green planet on his view screen with cold satisfaction. This time, there would be no underestimation. This time, Earth would fall. Deploy the fleet in Containment Formation Alpha, he ordered. All ships prepare megascale energy weapons for simultaneous discharge on my command. We will overwhelm their defenses with coordinated fire. The Hegemony Grand Armada spread out, surrounding Earth in a three-dimensional grid pattern designed to prevent any escape and to ensure complete coverage during the bombardment. 500 warships, each capable of devastating an entire continent, positioned themselves for the attack. "Commence countdown to synchronized fire," Crithar commanded. "Target all major population centers and military installations." On Earth, in the Global Defense Command Center buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Eliza watched the tactical displays with intense focus. The Hegemony ships had positioned themselves exactly as Zaxvor had predicted they would for a standard containment procedure. "Nexus array status?" she asked. "All generators online and synchronized," came the reply. "Shield integrity at maximum." Eliza took a deep breath. "Activate the shield." Across the planet, 300 quantum field generators activated simultaneously. Energy surged through the global power grid as the Nexus array drew more electricity than any system in human history. From the surface, it appeared as if a transparent dome of shimmering energy was rising into the sky, expanding outward until it encompassed the entire planet. In space, the Hegemony sensors detected the expanding energy field with alarm. "Shield detected, encompassing the entire planet," reported Crithar's tactical officer. "Energy readings are unprecedented." Crithar's mandibles clicked dismissively. "No planetary shield can withstand the combined firepower of the Grand Armada. Continue with the attack." "Firing sequence initiated," announced the weapons officer. "Synchronized discharge in 10, 9, 8. Throughout the fleet, massive energy weapons powered up to levels capable of shattering continental plates. The combined discharge would overwhelm any known defensive system through sheer overwhelming force. 3, 2, 1, fire. 500 energy beams, each powerful enough to vaporize a small moon, struck Earth's Nexus shield simultaneously. The shield flared brilliantly, absorbing the unprecedented energy assault. For a moment, it seemed as if the shield might fail, as localized fluctuations appeared at various points of impact. But then something unexpected happened. Instead of weakening, the shield stabilized, the fluctuations disappearing as the quantum field adapted to the attack. More astonishing still, the shield began to glow brighter, actually drawing energy from the Hegemony weapons. "Impossible," Crithar snarled. "No shield technology can absorb energy on this scale." Yet the evidence was undeniable. Not only was Earth's shield holding, but it was also growing stronger with each moment of sustained attack. The humans had created a defensive system that converted enemy weapon energy into additional shield strength, a technology that violated what the Hegemony had believed were immutable laws of physics. "Cease fire," Crithar finally ordered, realizing that continuing the bombardment would only strengthen Earth's defenses further. "Prepare for physical assault. Launch all ground forces." But before the Hegemony troops could deploy, Earth launched its counterattack. From concealed silos and underwater bases around the planet, hundreds of missiles streaked toward the Hegemony fleet. Unlike conventional weapons, these carried quantum phase warheads, devices that could temporarily shift matter out of normal spacetime. "Evasive maneuvers," Crithar commanded, but it was too late. The missiles detonated not against the Hegemony ships, but in carefully calculated positions around them. Space itself seemed to ripple and distort as quantum phase fields expanded from each detonation point. Throughout the Grand Armada, ships found themselves caught in localized phase distortions. Weapon systems failed as critical components shifted partially out of normal space. Engines sputtered and died. Communication systems went silent. And then came humanity's secret weapon. From hidden hangars around the globe, Earth's first spaceborne warships rose into the sky. There were only 20 of them, a pitifully small force compared to the Hegemony's 500, but they carried technology unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The Earth vessels, designated Defiance class, positioned themselves at strategic points around the paralyzed Hegemony fleet. From each ship, A focused beam of energy connected to the planetary nexus shield, creating a power circuit of unprecedented magnitude. In the Nevada Command Center, Eliza activated the final phase of Earth's defense plan: initiate the reversal protocol. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Nexus shield, having absorbed and stored the energy from the Hegemony's initial attack, now channeled that power through the Defiant ships and back against the attackers in precisely calibrated bursts. The alien fleet's own energy was being used against them, targeting the specific vulnerabilities that Zaxvor had identified. One by one, Hegemony warships went dark, their systems overloaded by their own redirected energy. They didn't explode. The human attack was surgically precise, disabling rather than destroying the vessels. On the Hegemony flagship, now drifting powerless in Earth orbit, Admiral Crethar watched in stunned disbelief as his mighty armada was neutralized without a single ship being destroyed. The humans could have annihilated the fleet, yet they had chosen precision over destruction. "Admiral," his communications officer reported, "we're receiving a transmission from Earth." The main view screen activated to show General Williams, flanked by Dr. Chen, and to Crethar's fury, the traitor Zaxvor. "This is General Marcus Williams of Earth Defense Command. Your fleet has been neutralized. We have the capability to destroy your vessels, but we prefer to resolve this conflict without further loss of life. We invite you to discuss terms of peace." Crethar's rage was boundless, but even he could not deny the reality of their situation. The Grand Armada, pride of the Hegemony, hung helpless above a planet that had proven far more advanced than anyone had imagined. "You leave me no choice," Crethar finally responded, each word painful to his pride. "What are your terms?" 1 week later, in the newly constructed Galactic Relations Facility in Geneva, representatives of Earth met with the Hegemony delegation. Admiral Crethar, stripped of much of his authority, but still representing the Hegemony military, sat across from General Williams, Dr. Chen, and members of the United Nations Security Council. "The terms are simple," Williams stated. "Earth will join the galactic community as a sovereign power, not as a subject of the Hegemony. We will share certain technologies in exchange for access to interstellar travel capabilities, and there will be no further attempts at containment of our planet." Crethar's upper eyes narrowed. "The Hegemony has ruled the known galaxy for 10,000 years. You demand equality after a single victory." Zaxvor, now officially Earth's advisor on extraterrestrial relations, leaned forward. "It was not just any victory, Admiral. It was a demonstration of innovation that the Hegemony has not seen in millennia. Humans solved in decades what our scientists couldn't resolve in centuries. They deserve a place at the galactic table." The negotiations continued for days, but the outcome was never really in doubt. With the Grand Armada still disabled in Earth orbit, the Hegemony had little choice but to accept humanity's terms. A new era of galactic politics was beginning, one where the balance of power had shifted irrevocably. 6 months later, Earth launched its first true interstellar vessel, the Prometheus. Using a combination of human innovation and adapted Hegemony technology, it could travel faster and more efficiently than any ship in the galaxy. Dr. Eliza Chen, appointed as Earth's first ambassador to the galactic community, stood on the bridge beside Captain Zaxvor, who had formally requested and received asylum on Earth. "Are we ready?" Eliza asked,